What is conflict of interest? What are we trying to discuss today? Because many of us may have various kinds of definitions. So we just put this out for a little bit of discussion that will go through our minds on what it actually is. So it's actual, real, it could be perceived, and it's also very much a potential issue where we can see something happening. For instance, the case of, so many cases to mention, but I think there might be one very interesting one to say about the IGP. Remember just a few days ago he was reported to have gone on a trip, some kind of lawatan to Turkey. Do you remember reading that? Yes. And his daughter was putting up pictures on her Instagram or social media, you know, nice posing holiday and all that. So the first question is, what is this? Holiday by the IGP? Daughter going along? And then later it got worse. It was supposed to be a trip to learn about anti-gambling activities. Then Finance Minister confirmed that it was a gambling agency, Damachai, who actually funded the trip. Yeah. Second example would be maybe something a bit more current, because that controversy, you know, every day got one controversy after another. Very interesting, our country. Next day it was one of the Court of Appeal judges actually filing an affidavit, an explosive one that actually talked about the judiciary in crisis and some of the judges actually engaging in business activities, siphoning off public funds, actually interfering in some cases, and so on and so forth. And then we get some other examples of this one, of conflict of interest happening where in the current administration you have ministers appointing daughters, maybe not themselves, but allowing their daughters to be appointed into boards of government-linked companies, of trust funds for poverty eradication, such as Amanah Ikhtiar, Malaysia, and so on. So we're never short of examples. It's real, it's perceived, and it's potential. Now, next is various scenarios, and I think all of you are really experts here, and we've invited several people to make specific interventions on where it can actually occur. So they occur of scenarios in licensing, at local government planning approvals. There are a few ex-councillors and Ahli Majlis present here today as well. Gifts, benefits, hospitality, dealing with former public officials, those that may have retired and have a lot of influence in government, as well as staff recruitment, secondary employment, and so on. And then you have categories, whether it's pecuniary, non-pecuniary. And finally, this is the part that I think we should pay a lot of attention to, which is really the interlink. What has conflict of interest got to do with poor governance and corruption? And this is it. And it is really about the link when you have people in conflicted positions, which means a position in which you were appointed to actually have some kind of private gain funneling out for your own benefits and so on. How it morphs into corruption with the use of public office for private gain and so on. So let's keep this in mind throughout the discussion of the morning, as we have various expert panelists actually talking. It isn't just about the topic, it's probably also because of a very exciting group of speakers that we have today. Panelists that comprise of very renowned, well-known academic and critic, Professor Terence Gomez, an auditing top firm, Deloitte, that has also been in the news a lot lately, and we all know why. And we have a Chief Integrity Officer from Petronage, and both of them will also share the code of ethics that perhaps the government can actually consider taking on. And then we have two very prominent young politicians. One just informed us last night that she was unable to come, but she has sent a very close colleague and a member of parliament, Wong Chen, who's here to read the speech of Nurulisa. And we will have later the Minister of Youth and Sports, who's also always in the news, sometimes for very interesting things, coming to actually talk to us. Now, one of the primary reasons we called him is not so much about the drink from 7-Eleven or some other important issues he may have been featured in the newspapers, but it's mainly because, if you will remember, his political party, Bersatu, when they had their AGM, there were some explosive stories about one of their senior members saying, by hook or by crook, we must win the elections because you must give contracts to the rank and file. That is the only way political parties can win elections. And we were like, oh, no, 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 this is surely not something that we will accept. And guess what? YB Sadiq actually stood up, said something. So today is the opportunity for all of us to actually get a representative from the cabinet to speak to us about where this whole issue of political patronage, how conflict of interest could morph into corruption very, very easily, and what are the checks and balances that we need. So this isn't just a C4 Center agenda concern, it should be all of our concerns.